Hi friends, I'm Jason Carter, author of Trumpet Blast Warning. In chapter 14 of my book, I cover in detail the prophecy concerning the mark of the beast. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this prophecy, let me give you a brief introduction before I show you two examples of how we are being dubbed into accepting the technology that will pave the way for the mark of the beast as prophesied in Scripture. Some 2,000 years ago, the Apostle John, while imprisoned on the island of Patmos, received a prophecy which at that time would have been impossible to comprehend fully. John wrote about a mark that would be applied to the hand or the forehead of everyone on the planet, a device that would become the ultimate surveillance tool and the only means whereby a person could buy or sell. John wrote, "He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Revelation 13:16-17. There are other Bible references to the mark of the beast, and they can be found in Revelation 14:11, 15:2, 16:2, 19:20 and 24. Now, I said in my book that the mark would gain acceptance within society in three principal ways. 1. A strategy of fear. 2. Convenience and a cashless society. 3. The technological enhancement of the human body. Now, one example for the strategy of fear that I use in my book is child abduction. Now let's have a listen to this BBC Radio 5 live broadcast from the 26th of January 2015 and see that it's playing out just as I said it would.
Interesting concept this. Let's just clarify what we're talking about here. Mike, when you say microchip, do you mean like a tag or a chip in the shoe, or do you mean literally putting it under the skin like you do with pets?
Yeah, I think there's a very important initial distinction here. And the first is what are called the wearable tag devices, which could be something in the shoe, something in a coat pocket, something on a key ring or attached to the wrist. Very few moral questions there, really. It's just a case of, can we create a device that will allow a parent who loses a child click a button on their smartphone and know exactly where the child is. That technology is already with us, and it's available in various different formats. The question that we posted yesterday was whether or not a parent would go so far as to inject a microchip, very similar to the kind of thing that you use for your pets already, effectively under the skin. And this would have to be an advance in the kind of pet technology we're used to. The pet technology allows us to go up to a pet, scan it, and identify the pet. We're talking about a microchip which, in effect, when, as a parent, we felt the need to say, we're in trouble here, we don't know where our child is, panic has set in, we can press a button, it activates the chip to beam an alert out, a little bit science fiction-like, but we can then see exactly where our child is.
Assuming that technology existed, you've got 7 kids, would you chip your kids?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I think part of the reason both my brother and I initially started the Lost Kids project was that I think we both consider ourselves to be quite responsible parents, but we both, in very different situations, have actually lost one of our little children, albeit for a relatively short period of time. And it was only when we were discussing this that we realised we'd both been through the same horrific experience and started to build the Lost Kids community, which is partly about bringing community together to look after children.
Yeah, I mean,
but obviously this is technology.
Stephen, there are those that would say, right, fair enough, if the technology's in a coat or something, if the child misses his bus and wanders off, then you could probably zero in. But presumably you're imagining far worse than that the child may have been taken in order to have the technology under the skin, because presumably if someone took a child, they could remove its clothing and therefore remove any signal. But it's a rather invasive procedure, isn't it, to actually place a chip in a child's body?
It is. It's an important distinction, actually, because, again, the wearable devices will deal with 98% or 99% of lost children situations. And, in fact, they're the dangerous ones, falling in water, wandering into road traffic, etc. the tiny proportion of incidents which are abduction related, the wearable device becomes almost irrelevant. As you say, the perpetrator would immediately remove the device and away they go. So this really deals with the kind of ultimate but exceptionally and thankfully very rare scenario of dealing with an abduction. So yes, it's invasive because it would have to be, but you know, we have parents who will pierce their children's ears. We have parents out of faith will circumcise their children. This is something.
Yeah, but Gabby, God forbid that the person who took the child had a scanner themselves and began to dig out the chip. I mean, you know, I suppose the possibilities are too horrific to think about. Listen, just Stephen, we run out of time. I just want to know this: out of all the people who've contacted you since you mentioned this, do the majority say they would microchip their kids? In other words, plant a chip inside their skin?
Over 95%, overwhelming yes.
Now, of course, I'm not saying that these guys who are promoting this idea are using the fear strategy. The strategy of fear is used by those with a globalist agenda. It is they who jump off the back of any opportunity to push further that agenda for mankind. You can read about how this works in Chapter 4, Creating a Climate of Fear, and see that this is a proven system for governments to get what they want. In this case, the ultimate surveillance tool. The guy in this radio broadcast wants to save kids, and let's face it, if your kid was chipped, it could deter an abductor, or locate your lost child, which is great. And this is why we need to be so on guard. You see, the mark is not going to be implemented via some sinister individuals who have strapped you down or are injecting you against your will. Of course, you would run from that and likely say it was of the devil. But let's leave that for the Hollywood movies. No, the stark reality is that the mark will gain acceptance through a variety of means, and they will all be for good reasons.
To think something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love
are on the line.
HealthLink is always with you when every second counts in the emergency room, providing immediate access to your medical records.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because my car lost control while driving.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
If we do not understand the subtle nature of the implementation of this invasive technology, then before we know it, it will be too late, and we would have been deceived. You see, once the cashless society is fully introduced, and experts say physical currency will probably disappear within 20 years, and that cashless system meets the generation that has fully accepted the implantable device or the RFID tattoo, then it's checkmate, the game's over, and the prophecy is fulfilled. So we need to look at the bigger picture here. We need to look at it against the backdrop of biblical prophecy. The end game is all about total people control. The next example I want to show you is again from the BBC on the 29th of January 2015. Once again, it's just as I said it would be in my second point. Through convenience, the mark will be accepted. Let's have a look.
Here in the centre of Stockholm, a new high-tech office building is open to welcome startups and established companies like Google and Microsoft. But there's one key thing about the technology of the building, and that is that people who work here can be chipped to gain entry to the building and various services. I've just been chipped myself. It's not a painless process, but it doesn't last too long, not too difficult. Minor surgical procedure, which basically involves a little chip the size of, I suppose, of a grain of rice being inserted under your skin, and you can then go off and have it programmed and then do various things inside the building. Let's go and have a look. And here's Hannah Schobler, who is in charge of this whole chipping operation in this building. Now, you've been chipped yourself. Where's your chip?
Yeah, I have a chip right here, which I use to access the entire office.
So let's see if we can get into this particular.
This is how I do it.
Okay.
No need for passcodes.
And we're in. So, what else can you use this for? Is it just for gaining entry to doors? Because that would seem a fairly simple thing.
Absolutely not. I mean, with this technology, I interact with all kinds of devices all around us. It can be normally my smartphone. I unlock my smartphone, my computer, I unlock my bike. All kinds of things that are now part of the greater connected Internet of Things.
But inside this building, you'll be able to do what else? What other thing will you be able to do?
Oh, I open the front door, I open various office rooms, I open the copy machine so that I can log into it.
So you can print just by putting your hand against the printer?
Exactly. So it's instead of having some clumsy device in my pocket, I just put my hand on the reader. If we help show people that this is really not that complicated, it's making our lives easier, I think people will actually welcome this tool to make their lives easier.
And is there a sort of wider philosophy behind it?
We are early adopters of this technology, we experiment with it, we learn it, how it works, because I think that there might be a day when the tax man or the big corporates will come to us and say, hey, try this chip, try this implant. And then we, the biohackers, who understand this technology, we will be able to question their proposals.
Finally, the third point is through technological enhancement of the human body. Well, 2015 has been heralded as the year of wearable tech. I'll leave that for another video. Well friends, these have been just a few pointers of how to avoid the mark of the beast from creeping up on us. I do hope you found this presentation helpful. For more information, please visit www.trumpetblastwarning.co.uk or follow me on Facebook and Twitter for all your end time prophecy related news. God bless you.